Is going on? Let's do this. We're live right now. All right, I was just watching a little Bob the Canadian, and I know some of you were too. Just getting ready. Welcome everyone. Shref is here. Aniko is here. Naima's here. What's going on, Rod? Kamlish says my daughter's birthday is today. So I please wish her a happy birthday, of course. Tanu, happy birthday. Happy birthday. How old is she? Tanu, happy birthday. Can you hear me? Happy birthday. So if you were just in Bob the Canadian's chat, this is a little different. He's very professional. He has the chat on the screen, the questions on the screen. I am not as high tech. Aroni, how are you? Did you ask a question in Bob the Canadian's chat about tubs? I didn't know if that was you or not. I know Aroni is a very popular name in Italy, but I was like, maybe that's him. Zoe is here. Henry is here. What is going on? Thank you again for those Indonesian subtitles. That was a nice surprise. So if you're new here, the way this works, if you're new here, don't forget to click subscribe. But if you're new here, it's a little bit different than Bob the Canadian. Thank you, Shref. That's very kind of you. Because my chats are much smaller. Simply ask the question in the chat, and I will do my best to answer it. That's how it goes. And there is no topic. It's just whatever you might have been studying this week in English. And what I do, again, thank you, Henry. Thank you for those subtitles. And I did a little research on the Indonesian language yesterday. And I didn't realize like 230 million people speak Indonesian. And it's very related to Malay. So definitely a great language that I think is the 10th most spoken language in the world. Indonesian, the 10th most spoken language. So the way it works here is you ask a question in the chat. I try not to miss it. I have been going back over the chats because on Sunday, I want to release a quick class. It'll be the second one where I look at the questions from the week and try to boil it down, try to condense it to what I think might be the most helpful. So I'm not sure if Law is here, but I was looking back through the chat last night and I totally missed Law's question twice. And it was a great question. So I want to highlight that for the quick class. So ask your questions in the chat. I will answer them as best I can. I will try not to miss them. Sometimes when things get busy, I miss it. Ask it again. It's not because I skipped you. If I can't answer the question, I'll let you know. I can't answer it. But if I just simply miss it, ask it again. Luke from Poland is here. Welcome. Nico, Naima, nice to see you. Ivan, how are you? He would like to know how old I am. 25. I'm 25 years old. Can't tell, can ya? 20, yes. Errone. Yes. No, I'm 44. 44. I'm a boomer. Vierslav, welcome. What's the meaning of low life? Low life. Yeah, so we would often call someone who is a low life, they might be into a lot of crime. Maybe someone who, and it's mostly guys, we would call low life, but maybe they cheat on their girlfriend a lot, or they cheat on their wife. They don't take care of their kids. That's what we would call a low life. Let's see, Naima, welcome, Naima. Nori also says, already better than just getting by. Oh, that comes from a lesson I did. Nice job. Yeah, so if you're getting by, You know, I'm getting by. You're doing okay. Maybe could be better, but nice job, Nori. Glad to hear you are doing well. Did I? Zoe is here. I hope I mentioned everybody. Mega is here. Welcome. Nice little chat this morning with Mega. Some good questions. We got into, everything with Lila is here. Welcome. Yeah, Mega and I got into a little discussion that I think I maybe need to make a video about or highlight in the next quick class. And I didn't realize, but in my latest video, I was standing next to a pond. I was standing by a pond. I was standing beside a pond. So in that case, all three of those prepositions can mean the same thing in that case. You know, sometimes it's different, but standing beside, standing by, standing next to, all the same thing, all the same thing. If I was standing in the pond, that would be totally different. I would probably have some wet feet if I was standing in the pond. All right. Naima, sorry, I had to read your question a couple times. No, matinal, and when I wrote it, spell check, no, I would stick to morning routine, and that would let people know, you know, you probably, hopefully, maybe, if you're going to work, you took a shower, maybe you had some breakfast, and then you drove to work or you got on the subway. So your morning routine, brushing your teeth, you know, things like that. But I don't know that other word. Just, I would stick to morning routine, morning routine. So Virslav, low life, we got that. Nori, question. If I say they abuse their power, that means taking advantage in a bad way. It does. So the abuse of power, oftentimes, so let's say there is a boss of a company. If they were to abuse their power, maybe they would be stealing money. Maybe they would be taking advantage of some of their employees. Abuse their power. It's always a bad thing. Always a bad thing. Rod. Good question. What's the difference between a crime and a misdemeanor? And I'm going to add one more word there, okay? I'm going to add, if I can spell it, I'm going to add misdemeanor. Hope I can spell it. Spell check, help me out here. It has a different misdemeanor. There's a T in there somewhere. This is not spelled correctly. But a felony would be the worst of crimes. So murder is a felony. Misdemeanor, and of course I can't spell it. It's an important word if we're talking about crime. How about, I'm just gonna say it. I wish I could spell it for you. Because it does have an O in it when you would think it would have an E. But, so crime can get you in trouble. Crime can get you sent to jail. Crime may cause you to pay a fine. But misdemeanor is something minor. Misdemeanor is minor. Felony is reserved for the worst of crimes, where maybe you have to spend the rest of your life in jail. Ooh, a dog scared me over there. He's right. That's my neighbor's dog. But he came around the corner. I was like, what is that? I caught another groundhog yesterday, and I put him in the same place that the other groundhog went to. All right. The next question. Zabeda. How many rooms does the typical house have? Zoe would like to know. The typical house, and we often talk about houses with bedrooms. So if you're talking about a house, you may say, oh, it's a 2-bedroom house. It's a 3-bedroom house. It's a 4-bedroom house. The most common would be 2. No, the most common might be 3 bedrooms. 3 bedrooms. But of course, if you're talking about the city, as in most cities, the space will be smaller. And sometimes in a city, there might be something called a studio, or we call a studio, and it doesn't even have a bedroom. It's almost all one room. The bathroom is separated by walls, but the kitchen, the living room, and the bedroom are all the same. But I can show you my mud room. It's very small, and it has some stinky shoes that my children don't take care of. Mostly my children. So here's my garage. But the mudroom, it's just, I think I've showed it before, but it's just a little room. Oh. My wife is talking on the phone. But a mudroom, especially in the north where we have winter, as Bob was saying, where we have winter, a mudroom is a great place for boots. If the snow is going to fall off, the mudroom can get wet. And in the spring, it might actually get muddy. But it's a nice, nice barrier, a nice buffer between the place where you'll actually live, where you want to keep that clean. So, hope that helps. I don't know if I've said I hope that helps yet. So, why don't I say that? Hope that helps. Zoe. Tone, Henry asks a great question. If you don't know somebody and you answer the phone, it's a great question. Tone is huge. Tone is huge. So you would say, you would add more of a higher pitched question-y, kind of a questioning thing. So if somebody called me, but one of the first questions you might ask is, you'd say, hello, are you calling or are they calling you? Oh, how do you answer? Well, the first thing, if you don't know somebody, one of the first things they should do in the United States is identify who they are. So you pick up the phone, hello, kind of a questioning, hello? What I do though, is I just let it ring and let the voicemail pick it up, and then I figure out who's trying to call me. So, but yeah, they should identify themselves. And if they don't, they could be a scammer. We have a problem, in the United States with that quite a bit. People calling, trying to sell you things, trying to get your information. So be very careful if you don't know the person. Don't give out too much information. I'm not sure if other countries have that problem, but in the United States, some older people have been taken advantage of because they've given too much information over the phone. Lila, I am well. I am well. Another great question, Henry. Yeah, let's follow up with that. Depends on the relationship you have with your boss, but what's up? Probably a little too informal. My boss is a man, and I often call him sir. That's not as common in the United States where I live. Southern United States, sir and ma'am are way more common, and I just think that's polite. So I do talk with my bosses. I have a couple. I talk to them differently than I would talk to my peers. Peers are people who are on the same level with you. So other teachers in my school are my peers. You can have definitely a more informal tone, at my school at least. If you know that teacher well, they could be very friendly. Ivan, also a great question. Right here, we got a little difference with prepositions, but it's actually quite important. So what is the difference between on time and in time? The big thing about in time is there has to be a deadline. Like, it has to be due at some point. So it could be an appointment, but it could be a paper, maybe that you are doing for English, and it's due on June 20th, and you get it in just in time. Maybe you get it in right when it's due, but you got it in on time. On time. Oof, I meant to say in time, but it will work. But if you got it just in time, that means before. If you got to your appointment on time, that's great. If you have a doctor's appointment, you got there on time, perfect. But if you say, I got there just in time, it means you might have been a little late. But notice both times I added just in time. So on time and in time can be used the same way. I just found that out. I hope that helped. I hope that helped. Prepositions are tricky. I saw Nori, capital punishment. Anytime you hear capital punishment, that involves the death penalty. So somebody would be put to death. Oh, Vierslav. I was standing near a pond. Yes. There's a little So as I told Mega in that video, I was standing near the pond, but there were so many bugs. Not sure if you noticed in the video. If you've seen it, I did a slang video on tweak and jacked up. And there were a lot of flies, little black flies. They get in your eyes. You might swallow them. So I moved away. East Timor, how are you? Eagle fly. I was just talking about the Indonesian video that I was watching yesterday, and East Timor popped up on it. And it was in yellow because Portuguese is the majority language in East Timor. Yeah, Ivan, I hope in time and on time, I hope I answered that correctly, but they can be used interchangeably. I like that word. All right. Ibrahim is here. How are you? Thank you, Nori. Some kind words there. Raphael. This is an amazing question. Nice job. Missed you the last couple days. Thanks for joining. His question is, I'm watching The Office, and I want to know, what do you call the situation when the cast talks to the camera directly? It's pretty rare in movies. If you remember, it's a famous American movie, like my age, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. If you've ever seen that, the main character turns to the camera. And we call this breaking the fourth wall. It's a very specific term. But you can imagine, you know, if a actor looks this way, that way, the four walls, but when they look right at the camera and address the audience, exactly as Raphael is mentioning, breaking the fourth wall. Breaking the fourth wall. Very rare. Thank you, Rod. That is how you spell misdemeanor. Misdemeanor. So misdemeanors, you might not even go to jail for. Maybe you have to pay a fine. Maybe you just get a warning. So misdemeanors are minor crimes. Felonies. And in fact, in the United States, if you are convicted, if you have been found guilty of a felony, you then become a felon. And you cannot vote in elections, and you cannot own firearms. You cannot own weapons. You cannot own guns if you are a felon. Convicted felon. Naima loves dogs. Aniko is wondering, are there houses built from bricks in the United States? There are. And when Jamie and I do the tornado video we've been talking about for a long time, Her grandparents, spoiler alert, her grandmother's brick house was destroyed by a tornado. So it was a F5 tornado. It's the strongest kind of tornadoes. And it just obliterated. It just destroyed major walls in the house. So much so that the house had to be torn down. As I'm looking around my neighborhood, there are no brick houses in my neighborhood. So brick houses are not as common now in 2020 as they were maybe 50 years ago. So, but yes, there are some. Rod says, as you said in Bob's chat, I love it when the scale disappears. Oh, yes, the scale, when we weigh ourselves. Yeah, my scale is in my bathroom closet. Yeah, we don't talk about it right now. We don't talk about it right now. And that was true in Bob the Canadian's chat. I did miss my doctor's appointment yesterday. I have another appointment scheduled in an hour and a half. So I'm gonna skip down in the chat and try to find some new questions. If I missed your question, I'm sorry. Please ask it again, but I'll try to figure out what's going on in the chat now. Virschloff says, where is the best place to hide when a tornado comes? And people are told, if you can, grab your mattress from your bed, cover yourself in your mattress, and go to a room in your house where the four walls are the smallest. And that is usually a bathroom. If you get in your tub, excuse me, that was mentioned in Bob the Canadian's chat. If you get in your tub, cover yourself with your mattress, the odds of surviving are better. And that is what her other grandmother did when her house was lost in another tornado. She got in her bathroom, covered herself, and survived while the rest of the house was destroyed. Hello, teacher. Where am I from originally? Yeah, my parents were born here in the United States. My grandparents were here in the United States. So I'm from the United States, but apparently my aunt took a DNA test. A lot of my family is originally, like way back, hundreds of years ago, is originally from Ireland and England. But I've always looked at myself, I'm like, I must be Native American or maybe even Japanese, but apparently not. I don't know. I'm not sure. Something's going on there. Sir, is speaking more comfortable to me than writing? Speaking is way more comfortable. Is speaking more comfortable? I'm going to add the more. Is speaking more comfortable? So when we're comparing two things, speaking or writing, which is more comfortable to me? Because I've been teaching for so long, speaking is a little bit more comfortable for me. Takes less time, that's for sure. Got a bug on my table. Let's see. Henry is wondering, what does cut me some slack mean? Well, somebody must have been pretty demanding to you. Maybe your boss is just asking you to work too hard. Or maybe, I don't know, your friends are just putting too much pressure on you to do things. So if you feel pressured, you would say, cut me some slack. It's relax, back off me, is what we say. There are four. Oh, there are four noisy birds in my driveway. A lot, actually. They're kind of fighting a little bit. But I don't know. Sorry, I'll try not to be distracted by them. Cute little things. Kamlish. Welcome. Daughter's birthday, right, today? How old is she? Behind me is my garage door. It's not wooden. It's kind of plastic, but it's my garage door, and I have it closed because my garage is very messy. A couple live chats ago, I was in my garage. It was a little messy, a little messy. All right, Ivan, apparently, and it appears, are those the same for me? I would think so. Let me try a couple sentences. Apparently, these birds seem to be eating something in the grass. It appears these birds are eating something in the grass. Yeah, I think we can use those interchangeably. Whoa, okay. Arrone is, I think, somewhat complimenting me. It's hard to get a compliment from Arrone, but he does warn me, don't get ahead of myself. We could also say too, don't get too full of yourself. Don't get too cocky. Those are two ways that if you receive a compliment, then I'm like, oh, I'm awesome. I don't have any more work to do. I'm the best. You're like, okay, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't get too cocky. Settle down. Settle down. So, thank you. Arrone. I still need to work on Rafael's name, though. Rafael. I'm working. Whoa. Zabeta. Do you have those crap buyers? Do you have those crap buyers who shout on the mic on the streets? Yeah, in larger cities, yes. Let me just change that, though. They are crap sellers. I haven't heard that term before, but I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, they're trying to sell you crap. They're trying to, in New York City, in our bigger cities, definitely, maybe they're trying to sell pictures of celebrities. Yeah, they have the microphone, maybe selling you some knockoffs. So those are not the real name brand, but maybe we'll use an Italian brand, Gucci, right? Maybe there's some watches there. They're trying to sell you. Yeah, we do. Not in my city, and not in my state. The bigger cities, though. All right. Oh, great question here, Rafael. So at the school that I work at, the proper term for someone who cleans and picks up would be custodian. A caretaker, it seems a little bit higher class. So maybe a caretaker would work in a mansion, but a custodian would work at a school. A caretaker also might work in a funeral home. So, good question. Oh, Ireland has some Iranian roots. I think everybody has some Iranian roots, right? Between the Tigris and the Euphrates, a lot of life started there. So I can imagine a lot of Persian roots around the world. Marina, welcome. She says, hi Brent, how do Americans decorate their houses? I know that you have well cared for lawns, that's true. But what about some flowers and some trees? Yeah, Jamie's been working really hard, and there are so many different ways that Americans like to decorate their homes. It can be, there's so many different ways. You could have modern, which probably is how our house is designed. Modern, 2020, 2000, somewhere in there. Then you can have like country style, where people will try to more like a farmhouse, even though they don't live in a farmhouse, but they might have older material, and we would call that a kind of a country style. Our lawn right now, maybe I can look over there. Trying to make it nice with some flowers. But Bob the Canadian also mentioned going to Home Depot a lot, and Jamie has been to Home Depot quite often to get material, with her mask of course, to get material to make our lawn look better. And we do call them lawns. In the UK you might hear garden, but we call a garden only for planting fruits and vegetables. We don't, I have one tomato plant in my backyard. I have a tomato plant, but I received that as a gift. I actually received that on the video that I made about drive-by birthday parties. And one of my son's friends' moms, pretty complicated, dropped off a tomato plant for us. So we don't eat tomatoes, but I planted it in the backyard. We don't have as many fruits and vegetables for decorations in this part of the country, because so many of the fruits that grow here, because of our harsh winters, they're not that colorful. They're like pear trees, apple trees. In the south, you might have lemon trees or orange trees. No, Ivan, keep asking questions. I'll ask as many as I see. Cut out. What does cut out from me mean? Ooh. I don't know, I could probably do a whole video on cut. If you say to somebody, cut it out, that means you want them to stop. But if you say, I am not cut out for this job, I'm not cut out for this job, it means it's not right for me. I can't handle it. My brother, it's very hot today. It's 90 degrees Celsius. I'm sorry, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius, but for us it's hot. And he mows lawns. He does landscaping. It's really hot, and I don't think I would be cut out for that job because I'm used to being inside a classroom. So it's just not cut out. It's not meant for me. Hope that helps. Right. Why did you change buy to sell? Okay. Great question. So those crap sellers, right? They are trying to sell things that they want people to buy. So the seller tries to get rid of the watch. The buyer pays money and receives the watch. Hope that helps. Cecilia says, purple suits me. Thank you. Okay. I should do a video on this, Nori, because these are all different. Whoops. And I have mentioned this in a live stream one time, maybe a month ago. So we have tornado, we have hurricane, We have cyclone. We also have typhoon. So hurricane, cyclone. I said that wrong. Hurricane, cyclone, typhoon, all the same storm. Those are big storms that form over the water. If it's a hurricane, it is in the Atlantic Ocean. If it's a cyclone or a typhoon, it's in the Pacific Ocean. In English, that's how we separate the two. But a tornado forms over land. It's much smaller. Hurricanes can be 100 miles wide. Tornadoes are often 1 mile wide, and that's really big for a tornado. And the tornado usually has stronger winds. A hurricane, 75 miles an hour. Has to be 75 miles an hour and above. 125 is a strong hurricane. But 315 miles could be a strong tornado. So I should do a video on that. Henry, you saw that? How'd you see the FedEx truck? Yeah, they dropped something off of my neighbors, but my neighbors just left. So maybe we should go over and steal their package. And somebody has mentioned that before. I think it was UPS. It wasn't DHL. UPS dropped a package off at my house. My house is safe enough that packages can be left on the front steps and they will not get stolen. Most likely. I've never had anything stolen. Don't get carried away. Don't get ahead of yourself. Yes, those mean the same thing. Slow down. Slow down. Oh, thank you, Eagles. Yes, that's my house. Thank you so much. No. Oh, tomato, tomato. Tomato, tomato, Henry says. In the, tomato, tomato, potato, potato. But in the US, I think everyone says tomato and potato. I think in England, it's tomato. Tomato. I need some tomato juice. And I think it's potato. I'm not sure though, I'm not sure. But not in the US. Wait. Aniko says, I saw that too. A typical American street with that FedEx car. Was it when I showed over there, I wonder? Yeah, the FedEx just dropped off. Fire that truck. Sorry. Cheesecake can be delivered by you. Yes, cheesecake can be delivered by FedEx. I think so. There is a great, I can't remember it, great cheesecake in New York City. Just amazing cheesecake. All right, Ibrahim. See you later. Eagles Fly is wondering about sports in the United States. Basketball, my son has a basketball hoop. Where is it? Somewhere there. Basketball is very popular here. American football is very popular here. Hockey is popular where I live. Baseball is sometimes called America's sport or America's game, but not as many people like baseball as much. It's a little boring to some people. I like American football and I like hockey quite a bit. Let's see. Okay, Rafael. Rafael was talking about stereotypes of all the American states and the incest with Alabama. Yeah, so if you don't live in the South, Alabama, Mississippi, West Virginia, there are a lot of jokes about incest. If you're not familiar with incest, that is having sexual relations with your family members, which You know, there are different customs all around the world, but that is one thing that every culture says that's bad. That's bad. So there are jokes about that. I lived in Alabama for about 7 years. I can say that it doesn't happen there, at least not mostly. I never saw it. But that's just a way to make fun of people for saying that they are ignorant. So it's just a joke. Just a joke. Oh, so Rod is wondering, did I used to be a collector of something when I was a teenager? I've always collected books. Always collected books. I have 3 bookshelves in kind of like my library room or my study. Sometimes I can't remember who said it. Was it Zobeda? Said that we have different names for every room. And there is one room, we might call it a library or a study, where you have all of your books. So yeah, I collect books. Collect books. Oh, thank you, Nori. Thank you, Nori, for checking out that video. Typical American street. Aniko. Yeah, I have done a couple live streams from the bar. There's a bar, but behind that is the library. Oh yes, and Arone works for DHL, right? Big supporter. Ivan is asking about African American vernacular English. Should people who learn English also know that? It depends. If you're going to spend a lot of time, you know, in that culture, maybe, but, you know, and because I lived in the South, I was able to pick up on it. But if you're going to watch TV or movies, you know, that's not preferred. Some Americans even have trouble understanding. So I would say only if you plan on being, you know, in that culture. Just like if you plan on visiting the United States or Canada, you know, be more familiar with that language rather than if you're going to England and spend a lot of time there, or Ireland. Even the Irish accent I've mentioned before, I have trouble with that. So depends. If you're, you know, wherever you're going to go or travel. Oh, Rod, I collected CDs as well. Lots of CDs. That shows you how old we are, right? I'm a stan for music too. Huge stan. Huge stan. So if you saw that video I did on slang, 2 slang videos ago, huge stan. Huge stan for books and music. Sharef, if you say to someone, I miss you, that expression can have a lot of meanings. It can be a little bit complicated. Like I just said to someone, oh, we've missed you. I think it was Ahael. We've missed you. It just means like, I noticed you weren't here. You know, hope you're all doing well. But it could be like a friend you haven't seen in a while. It's like, oh, I've really missed you. Meaning we should connect soon. We should get together. So, things like that. Oh, mijo. That is a good question, probably for everyone. Who have I spoken to on the phone? I don't think Mary's here, but I have spoken to Aroni and Rod and Nori. And yeah, I don't know how hard work, maybe. It would be a great question. How have, excuse me, some of you become so fluent in English? 9 years, it's a long time. But So Raphael says, can the fourth wall be used when the cast is alone? With the camera person. Breaking the fourth wall is every time that the cast acknowledges, they are part of a TV show. So, and it happens often in The Office just because the whole show is them filming a documentary. But I can't think of another popular show that does that. All right, Luke from Poland, and I do need to leave in just a few minutes. I need to take my daughter to her friend's house. She's going to the beach, and Daddy has to drive. She does not have her license yet. A couple years she will. Let's pronounce these two verbs. So master. I'm sure many of you want to master English. It takes a long, long time to master English. And you might have to muster the strength to study every day really hard to master that language. So muster, master, muster, master. Hey, Ivan, thank you so much for your kind words. It means a lot. You know, I don't have a ton of subscribers, but so many of you are so kind, telling me great work. It makes me want to create more videos and keep doing what I'm doing. So thank you guys. It means a lot. No way. Rod is talking about John Cusack. Big fan of his. I like his stuff. John Cusack. At one time in my life, people said I looked a little bit like John Cusack. I think it's the eyes. But he's done some great stuff. Early on in his career. He did, Rod might be the only one to know this. Better. Very old, late 80s movie called Better Off Dead. About a French exchange student who moves into his neighborhood. It's funny movie. Uh-oh, Cecilia is saying she loves FedEx. Be careful. Aroni might get upset. Any more questions before I have to go? Nori is asking about cure and healing. They are pretty much the same thing. I would say they're the same thing. But cure will often have to do with taking pills, maybe, for a cold. You know, they say chicken soup is the cure for the common cold. But to heal, that often is something physical. Often, not always though. Maybe if you have a broken arm, you would say my arm is healing. If you have the flu and you took some medicine that fixes you, you would say, oh, it cured me. Or if you have a cough and you took a cough drop, you could say, oh, my cough, that cured it. I'm not coughing anymore. So very, very, very close. Veerschloff has a lot of CDs. So maybe you're my age. Yeah, if you tweaked your arm, you might not heel might be jacked up. If you jacked up your arm and it takes weeks to heal, if you just kind of tweak it, it might work itself out. Not sure if you would have to heal from a simple tweak. That makes sense. All right, I figure my daughter would be coming down any minute. She has to be at a place at 10 o'clock. Right now it's 9:50, but it doesn't take long to drive. All right, Ivan is asking, and we have spoken about this man before, Steve Kaufman. Do you think everyone should learn English grammar to speak English? So according to this guy, and he's a master. He's a master at learning languages. He spends a little time on grammar, but he mostly listens to native speakers speaking. And like I've said before, especially with prepositions, don't try to memorize prepositions. Listen to native speakers speaking. I use the correct preposition almost 100% of the time. Movies, television shows, they will use prepositions correctly almost 100% of the time. So you could spend 10 minutes studying grammar, like, oh, so boring, and give up. Or you could listen for an hour to something you like, and that might be more effective. I hope that answers. Vierschlaf, great question. What's the difference between medicine and remedy? So a remedy might not include medicine. Both get you better. So medicine, I think most people would probably know if you're watching this, but a remedy might be like that chicken soup. If you have a cold, some people say the best remedy is chicken soup. So it's not actually medicine that makes you better. Or you might have a remedy for finding your happy place, for being calm, and your remedy might be meditation or yoga. So remedy is much larger than just taking pills or medicine. I hope that helps. Yes, grandma's remedies. Yes, a lot of times they are older. The remedies are handed down from, grandmother or grandfather. They've been tested over time. All right, so I don't think my daughter is going to come down. I think I'm gonna have to go get her. She probably doesn't wanna come bother me. So I need to leave. Wasn't quite an hour yet, but I'm going to look back over. If I missed any questions, I'm sorry. It may make that quick class that will come out on Sunday. Thank you so much for all of your support, asking the questions. Hope you had fun. I had fun. And Naima, thank you for the flowers. That's our key. Every time the flowers are sent by Naima, it's time we leave. So thank you so much. I wish I could stay longer. It's fun. Maybe if I have some time in the afternoon, I'll go a quick live, but love hanging out with you guys. It's a lot of fun. And we'll do it tomorrow before Bob the Canadian's chat. I think he's going at, I think he goes at 11. So tomorrow we'll go at 10 a.m. my time, which is about this, like 24 hours from now. Right now, whatever time it is where you are from, we will go live again. So thank you so much. You guys are the best. Always fun. And I will see you sometime soon. Adios, amigos.